Hello, nerds and nerdettes. It is the first Monday of the month of December 2024, which means tomorrow is Tuesday, and we are going to have new releases in the collected editions world. So today's video is going to be my top 10 most anticipated releases for the month. This is my monthly series that I always put out at the first week of every single month. Comment down below, let me know what books you guys are excited about and what books you will be picking up, because it keeps me on the radar of books that maybe I'm not expecting to like. But let's go ahead and get into the list. And coming in at number 10 is Man's Best. This is a trade paperback edition. This does have a release date of December 24th, 2024, right before Christmas. We do have a cover price of $19.99 and a page count of 160 pages. This is going to be a little bit of a blind buy. This is not a title that I've ever read before. My only exposure to this title is actually during a video that BJ put out over at the Comics Are Dope YouTube channel, where he was talking about some titles that he's been reading and he's really been enjoying, and this was one of them. So the story has to do with Earth pretty much no longer being inhabitable and a spaceship of scientists leaving Earth and trying to, I guess, inhabit a new planet. And they have a multitude of animals that they've experimented on with them that then become man's next great hope. So this has a lot of We 3 tones that I feel like I would like, because I really like We 3. I'm an animal lover, so I love stories that have to do with animals. The art looks absolutely incredible. This is written by Pornsak Pichetshot. Hopefully I'm not butchering that too bad, because it's definitely butchered there, who is the writer of The Good Asian, which is a book that I picked up, I think, last year. Really good stuff. Crime noir story with some racial narration when it comes to Asian Americans. Really, really great story, and I'm excited to see what he does with this title, especially because of the art and just the cover, which you guys are seeing, has super crazy We 3 vibes. So I'm excited to finally check it out, and pumped that we're getting a trade paperback, but I do smell a deluxe in the future. Coming in at number 9 is Chris Mold's War of the Worlds, a graphic novel adaptation. We do have a cover price of $29.99, at least that's what I found. Correct me down below if you find different. We do have a release date of December 3rd, 2024, and a page count of 176 pages. So my only exposure to this is through the movie starring Tom Cruise. I'm not a huge novel reader, so I haven't read the novel. But I've recently been going through a little adventure of reading novel adaptations in a graphic novel format. Hopefully I'm putting that together correctly. My most recent pickup, which is also releasing this month, is The Road. That got a graphic novel adaptation, and it is incredible. So stellar. Great edition. It's hardcover, which I believe this is going to be a hardcover kind of deluxe edition format as well, because I want to say there's already trade paperbacks out that collect most of this material. So this is going to be more of a deluxe edition type of book. But super pumped to check this out. I love the movie. I've heard nothing but good things about the novel, but I'm a comic book reader, so this graphic novel adaptation is going to be the way that I absorb the story other than the movie. So really pumped to check it out, and this new graphic novel adaptation adventure that I'm going on and I'm going to bring you guys with. I'll start listing out some awesome graphic novel adaptations of beloved books that are out there and worth reading. And at number 8 is going to be for my Batman fans. And we do have Batman, Bruce Wayne, Murderer Turned Fugitive Omnibus. We need a shorter name for this omnibus because, wow. We do have a release date of December 17th, 2024, a cover price of $125, and a page count of 1,056 pages. So sitting at 125 instead of 150 and having a page count in the 1,000 range which is absolutely awesome. So I do remember a decent chunk of this era of Batman because it is a lot more of an era rather than a storyline, which I feel like almost all of Batman's storylines kind of end up being that when we look at No Man's Land or Nightfall. This is going to be very similar to that, but not as wide-spanning, not as big picture. It's going to be a little bit more condensed, but you're going to have Nightwing collected in here. You're going to have Batman. Really great stuff here. I really enjoy this era. It's not my favorite era of Batman by any means, but it is a lot of fun. Some of the issues in here are hit or miss, but I think it's a fun exploration of the differing personas and how Bruce Wayne and Batman kind of live separate lives. You are going to have a lot of Bat family members in here as well, but great stuff, great pickup for my Batman fans, and this is one that we've wanted for a really, really long time. And at number 7, we do have Death of Wolverine, the omnibus. You can thank me for this, which I'll get into here shortly. We do have a cover price of $125, a release date of December 17th, 2024, and a page count of 1,232 pages. So massive book here. So why I said you can thank me for this specific omnibus is the month before this was announced, I actually picked up the Death of Wolverine OHC. Of course, as soon as I pick that up, the next month, this omnibus is announced by Omar, and I end up kicking myself. So that will be in a giveaway of some sort at some point. But this is going to be for my fans of the Logan film, that this storyline is going to explore a dying Wolverine storyline. Once again, he is ill. I don't want to give too many specific details to the storyline, but he's ill and not healing, and he wants to know why. We have a awesome costume change that allows Wolverine to continue to be Wolverine, but you also have the psyche of Wolverine as he's approaching his death, which maybe that's a spoiler, but I think the title gives it away enough. And you get to really explore not only the death of Wolverine and how that affects the character of Logan, but also the characters around him that are very close to him, such as Dakin and X-23. So really, really great stuff here. I really enjoyed this era. We knew Wolverine wasn't going to stay dead for a very long time. Maybe that's a spoiler also, but really, really great stuff. A lot of fun to see the undying Weapon X finally meet his end, and it was incredible to experience in single issues. So really great stuff. For my X-heads, my Wolverine fans, pick it up if you haven't read it already, but even if you have read it, this is an omnibus you may not want to miss. And coming in at number 6 is The Ambassadors, the library edition. This does have a release date of December 24th, 2024, a cover price of $49.99, and a page count of 216 pages. This is the most recent edition or release that's going to be covering the Millerverse that was created by Mark Miller, covering the Ambassadors, Wanted, Superior, Magic the Order, Jupiter's Legacy, just to name a few. But what makes this really important to put on my list is we do have Frank Quitely on art, one of my favorite artists ever, and it's going to be in the oversized format where you're going to see all of the nuts and bolts of his incredibly detailed art style. So great. I really like a lot of this Millerverse stuff. I highly recommend it for people that aren't huge fans into the Marvel and DC stuff, because this Millerverse is becoming its own universe where they're all going to start tying in with one another. You're going to have characters like the Nemesis that will play major roles. Kick-Ass. We do have 2 other library editions that I'm super excited for, which is Magic the Order, which is getting a library edition, and then Jupiter's Legacy, which is probably one of my favorite Mark Miller projects that are out there. But fingers crossed on Kick-Ass and Superior coming out soon, because those 2 stories I think are some of Mark Miller's best work. But I highly recommend the Millerverse stuff. I highly recommend these library editions because they are beautiful. They're the size of Rick Remender editions, which is essentially a absolute. maybe an inch off, give or take. So great format, great edition. Highly, highly recommend if you haven't been reading this already. There's one library edition out, which is Wanted and Big Game, which is probably his weakest title. But now that we're past that, we got nothing but good stuff coming out. And kicking off my top 5 at number 5, we do have X-Force the Omnibus Volume 1. This is a reprint and one that so many people have been waiting for. We do have a cover price of $100, a release date of December 24th, 2024. That's going to be a huge release day if you can't tell already, and a page count of 848 pages. This is X-Force, Rob Liefeld's baby. This is the title that his name was attached to, probably the most, where you're going to see the most of his artwork that was booming in the 90s. You're going to have Cable being introduced during this specific title. This is the Rogue team, the Rogue X team. That's a little bit more edgy, on edge. And I feel like that's a lot of the taste and tone that some people do like, especially my 90s comics lovers. This was one of the biggest titles during the 90s, along with Adjectiveless Spider-Man and X-Men with Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. So this is going to be one that you're going to want to pick up. It is a volume 1, so we are going to be continuing from here, hopefully. But it is great stuff. If you're a Cable fan, this is where you're going to get probably the most Cable focused story, because he definitely takes the front and center role as the team leader and the main focus in a lot of these stories. So really great stuff. You like Rob Liefeld art, this is going to be in the oversized format, so you're going to get all of the incredible art minus a lot of feet, but I'm really excited to get this reprint because X-Force is another X title that I always have enjoyed. And coming in at number 4, we do have Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky, Omnibus Volume 2. We do have a release date of December 31st, 2024, so ending December with a bang. We do have a cover price of $100 and a page count of 776 pages. I think this is where Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run really kicks it into high gear. This is where you're going to have more of the exploration of the woman without fear, which is the character of Elektra, and her picking up the mantle of Daredevil. This is where you're going to have the tie-in issues that coincide with the Jason Aaron Punisher run, where we got to see Punisher quite literally become a villain, become the Beast, the leader of the Hand, and how Daredevil and Frank Miller, the Punisher, come to blows, and it ends in a beautiful climax that is super heartfelt. It has all of the beautiful religious undertones that Daredevil kind of always has, and you get to see Daredevil kick absolute ass, and 2 of the best costume designs during this era of comic books when it comes to the Woman Without Fear and Daredevil's costume with the hood and scarf. Absolutely awesome. Great title here. Action-packed. Explores even more the psyche and the attachment to religion and hell and heaven when it comes to the character of Matt Murdock, and explores his relationship with Elektra even more, making it a little bit more palatable and not as toxic as we're used to, which I really enjoyed. And you do have, of course, Frank Miller coming in and injecting himself in a very big and powerful way. So great stuff. This is a acclaimed Daredevil run for a reason, and it's probably going to go down in history as one of the best. So this does finish off Chip Zdarsky's run. So if you have volumes 1 and 2, that is everything you need, and it is so great. And now into the top 3, we do have my boy Superman making an appearance, and that is for the title Superman Kryptonite, the Deluxe Edition, finally getting a reprint, and I am pumped about that. We do have a cover price of $29.99, a release date of December 17th, 2024, and a page count of 160 pages. So this is one of the most important books when it comes to Superman's lore. This is his first run-in with Kryptonite and how he handles it. It's one of those stories that kind of backtracks to the early days of Superman and him learning to be Superman and deal with the threats. So really important to Superman's lore. It is a little bit more reimagined. It's not the stuff that you're going to see from the Golden Age, and it is a lot more modern, so it's going to be a lot more palatable for modern readers. But what makes this that much more impactful is we do have the writing done by the late, great, and legendary Darwin Cook, and the art done by the late, great, and legendary Tim Sale, two creators that are no longer with us, working together on a title that is absolutely incredible. This needs to be an absolute, especially with those legendary names attached to it. I don't collect absolutes, but that is the golden standard over at DC when it comes to collected editions, and this is 100% worthy of that. Tim Sale's art is cartoony, but it is beautiful. It's so comic booky. He really encapsulates the personality and characteristics into the design of the character. And then you have Darwin Cook, who is just a legendary writer, pays so much homage to the silver and golden age of superheroes, and really kind of adds that and injects that into the stories that he writes. So incredible story here, very important for the character of Superman, needs an absolute, but the most important thing is this is a work by two legendary creators that we no longer have. So pick it up if you're a fan of Superman, pick it up if you're not a fan of Superman, just pick it up because it is really that great, and it is a great read and really explores the early days of the character. And at number 2 is a long-awaited release that got pushed back 1.5 million times. Hopefully it doesn't get pushed back again. And that is DC versus Marvel, the Amalgam Age Omnibus. Finally coming out. We do have a cover price of $150 and a release date of December 31st, 2024, and a page count of 1,024 pages. So I do think that this omnibus of the two, DC versus Marvel, which is DC versus Marvel, the crossovers omnibus, and this Amalgam Age omnibus, this is the weakest of the two. You're going to have a culmination, a anthology kind of type of collection of all of the Amalgam Age titles and storylines. So you're going to see quite literally characters that are combinations of DC characters and Marvel characters, from Speed Demon, which is the Flash and Ghost Rider, to Super Soldier, which is Superman, Captain America, Dark Claw, which is Wolverine and Batman, but some pretty solid stuff here. Everything is not great. Even the peaks of this omnibus aren't great, but I do recommend it mainly for a collector's piece. This is going to be limited prints, very similar to that of the DC versus Marvel omnibus. So if this is something that you want to pick up, I would prioritize your budgeting and your spending and try and get this in if you're really that interested. It is really ambitious stuff. It is a lot of fun. Don't go into it for anything critically acclaimed by any means, but if you want to see mashups of your favorite characters, then that's what you're going to get here. And I think it's worth picking up just because of that limited print run that we're getting with these DC/Marvel omnibuses. So let me know if you guys plan to pick this up and what cover, because with this specific omnibus, I don't really know what cover or what route I plan on going, but it is finally coming out, hopefully, so pick it up if you can. And at the number 1 spot is probably one some of you may have guessed, and that is Aquaman by Peter David, the Omnibus. We do have it finally coming out here, a very wanted Aquaman omnibus for a lot of members of the community. We do have a release date of December 3rd, 2024, so we're starting off the month with a bang, a cover price of 150 pages, and a page count of 1,464 pages. So massive book here. So obviously all of this is done by Peter David. A lot of the lore here was first kind of established during the Atlantis Chronicles storyline, which Peter David also wrote. Very dialogue heavy, but puts a lot of building blocks in place. Peter David then jumps on the title of Aquaman and explores the lore of Aquaman, making him a little bit more edgy for the 90s and giving him a hook hand after a specific storyline where he loses his hand. So this is one of the most iconic designs for the character of Aquaman, and probably one of the most iconic runs for Aquaman since he doesn't have that many beloved runs. But you're going to have the Atlantean lore explored through the clear or the blue, some people call it that. You're going to have the introduction of some new characters that become fairly important when it comes to the character of Tempest and Dolphin. Really, really great stuff here. A lot of fun to be had. Very 90s, very edgy. I haven't read a lot of this material for a very, very long time. Some of it is hit or miss. It's not all great. I think the first half does start pretty strong, but it does start to fall apart a little closer to the end. But you guys can read it and let me know your thoughts down below or in the overview that I'm sure I'll eventually do for this omnibus. But I am so excited to see Aquaman get more omnibuses, more focus, and I'm even more excited to see members of the community actually excited for this omnibus to release. So that's why it's at number 1, finally coming out, the hook hand Aquaman getting the omnibus he deserves. And now we have reached the end of the video. If you plan on pre-ordering any of these titles, you can use the channel sponsor Organic Price Books and use the code STAYNERDY to save yourself $2 on a order. Or if you're ordering 4 or more books, you can use the code STAYNERDY, ship it together, to save yourself 5% on that entire order. Big savings, but also a great way to help out the channel. But thank you again for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up icon, and ring that bell for notifications, it helps out the channel drastically. But as always, stay nerdy.